Is it on? Test.
Test. All right, guys, we're going to get started. To get started, would anyone like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, awesome. We got someone over here. Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Nick. As I'm sure you guys are all aware, we've had some turnover on the board, so I'm going to be your new president. I'm excited, and Thank you. So one of my goals as president is going to be to try and allow more opportunities for involvement with everybody, which we will have an announcement with that when we get to general business. So other than that, I'm going to just get going. So we'll start with a call to order. Can all the board members raise your hand? I think that's everybody. Are we missing anyone? Oh no, we're missing John.
Or John.
Yeah. Awesome. And then the next will be the approval of the April meeting minutes. Can we get a motion? Gary?
Motion to approve the April meeting minutes.
Awesome. And a second? Awesome. Perfect. And next would be the adoption of the agenda.
I have a question.
Yeah.
At the bottom in general business, it says the Belmar letter. What is that? There's no information on it.
So that is a letter that the board has written to kind of clarify. There's been a complaint that was made, and it was to address that complaint, but I can go over that once we get to it. But that was because there was a complaint made to the board that was asking for some clarification. All right. It was a complaint about.
I don't think there's a complaint, but what is, I mean, is it, what is the complaint against? Or, I mean, is it about this place, people, store? I mean, it just does not, I don't know. Well, I guess my point is that I don't see that the agenda is, clear, and I don't know what I'm coming here to hear about, so that's my.
Yeah, fair enough. So the concern that was brought up had to do with the way that the board had handled the Belmar project and communication involved with it. Most of what happened that was in the complaint is before, I was on the board, so I was not as involved in the conversation. The housing development. Sorry, if that was unclear, I apologize. The Belmar housing development has been a development that has been discussed here for probably the past year or two. Yeah, absolutely. Were there any other questions about the agenda? Awesome, thank you, Julie. Anyone want a second? Perfect. And then next will be the treasurer report. So John's our treasurer. He is out today, so I will be doing that. You all have a treasurer's report on the tables. April activity was very minimal. No significant events were reported. Now, the one thing would be Cincinnati Fire Department, we did receive an invoice from them from the 2025 pumpkin chuck. Now, what this was from was previously we were unaware with the last year's pumpkin chuck that if you have 2 or more food trucks, there is an additional charge for the fire department to come out, check, make sure everything's okay. That's waived if there's 2 or fewer trucks. So because of that, it hadn't been paid last year. Now the SPAC who had, since we split profit with them, they were nice enough to offer to split that fee So we will be paying half of that fee. So that is, the one activity for that. And then getting on to community reports. First will be first responders. Do we have somebody here?
My name is FAO O'Connell. I am the driver for Engine 7 Unit 1. Just got really one thing here from the fire chief. It's Frank McKinley. He's our new fire chief. It says, it's just a note. It says, as we move into May, we are proud to highlight a simple but powerful idea, neighbors looking out for neighbors. True community safety doesn't begin when emergency lights arrive. It begins with awareness, connection, and a willingness to check in on one another. This month's focus showcases how small intentional actions can make a life-saving difference, particularly for the most vulnerable residents. By strengthening these everyday connections, we build a safer, more resilient city together. I encourage you to keep reading, to learn how you can play a role in this important effort and help make safety a shared responsibility across the community. And he goes on, he has a couple tips here. Just keep an eye on neighbors that either need help or are elderly. Keep an eye on them, make sure that they're not in trouble, where we would need to do a welfare check. Check on their smoke detectors, cooking habits, stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, make sure that they have, obviously in this weather, you're gonna need AC. It does say heating here, but that's not that doesn't apply here. Do you guys typically do stats for runs for the month? Okay. Let's see. The numbers I was able to get this morning, as of this morning, since May 1st, we've had 75 runs. 3 of them were auto accidents, 54 EMS runs, and 17 fire runs, and then 1 miscellaneous run. We had 5 mutual aid runs into Anderson Township, just helping them cover their area with their limited manpower. So just trying to kind of fill the gaps there. So, any questions? All right. I guess you're up.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Your guys' stats look pretty good for current 28 days. There was 1 burglary. Unknown person entered unlocked door and took drugs and drug paraphernalia. So I would say if you want your property inside your house, lock your doors. The stats say 2 theft from autos, but I only found 1 report for it, and it was theft from auto. Oh, I'm sorry, auto theft, and it was a subject had a medical emergency, dropped his keys on the sidewalk, and his car was not there when he got out of the hospital. I couldn't read the notes on it. It was locked from the investigator, so I couldn't read what the update is with it. As of now, it was not recovered. There was 1 theft, and it was a known person took a firearm a year ago. So you guys had 2 personal thefts. I couldn't see what those 2 were, so that was the main ones that I saw. So anybody got questions, concerns, comments? Accidents? I do not have those stats.
There was an accident on Washington at Beachmont again, turning in from Beachmont to Washington.
I know our statistician was doing some kind of stat readings from up here and was giving it to Priscilla. I'll have to get with her and see where that's at, because they were giving them to her, so I'm not exactly sure where that's at, but I'll do a follow-up and see where that's at and what's going on with it. So, any questions, concerns, comments?
Yeah.
Yep.
Got a little printout for you.
Oh, for me? Oh, cool.
The American Legion has replaced the pedestrian safety flags. 7 buckets, 21 flags. And we have learned, even with these flags in place, and Lord, they're bright, you can sure see them, a lot of people are just ignoring pedestrian crosswalks. And so my question is, what kind of laws or ordinances are in place? Is that something that perhaps CPD can put a little more teeth into as far as enforcement?
Yeah, we can certainly do it. I'll let the relief guys know we're having issues there. I do know some of our relief has been running laser there, so paying attention to the speeders. One of the local establishments ran them off their property, so they've been sitting up a little further from it. But yeah, I can go down there and sit too. It's pretty easy. So.
I know that particular location, around 3 o'clock, in Mt.Washington School.
We put out at 2:05, so probably
2:05.
2:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, there are a bunch of kids trying to use those flags and cross Sutton.
Yeah.
And,
I'll pass it on to the reliefs. Yeah. Yep. I'll pass it on to the reliefs and ask them to pay a little attention to it. So no problem. Anything else?
Yeah, Stanberry Park, I've seen some CPD cruisers in the daytime driving around on the pavement and doing that. I just appreciate that. I know y'all look at it in the morning and kind of when it closes, you do drive through usually, but seeing them active during the day was really cool. And they're kind of engaging with the park patrons while they're out there.
Good. I'll pass that on to them. Thank you for positive feedback.
Yep.
So, anything else? I'm still part-time right now. I probably have one more meeting if I had to guess, but so Thursdays and Fridays I'm with drones, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. With that being said, if you guys call my phone, my desk phone or whatever, I don't respond. I'm out of the office for the last half of the week. Email's the best for me. Like I said, I go straight to my phone and I try to respond as soon as I get it. So, yeah, just be patient with me if you call on the phone for me responding. So I've got some hate mail from people that I didn't respond quick enough. So
Do you have drones in Mt.Washington?
we do not. Lunkin takes that out of the game for you guys. But we have handhelds and vans. So like if something happens that's critical, we can come up here in a van and deploy it. So. But like as far as any of the stationary ones, we don't have them over here. So basically like just short of Lunkin over is not drone usage. So anything else for me? Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then next will be from schools.
Sorry.
Hi guys, Nikki Marksberry from Mt.Washington School. Rick, I confirmed with my mom. Fun fact, my first community council meeting was almost 40 years ago because of, I was like 8, because of, I'm not kidding, the intersection that you were upset with, and she tried to get a traffic light there. She tried to get a traffic light there almost 40 years ago. And you see where we are. Okay, that's a personal hat, not a Nikki professional hat. I hope you guys understand. Every once in a while I do both. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for the community showing up for Knights Fest. We had over 250 members of the community, our families, our students. Again, it was a free festival. Luckily, the weather held out. So for those of you that came and participated and volunteered, thank you from the bottom of my heart. The kids had a good time, which is always kind of the game plan, right? For those that haven't heard, every year Cincinnati Public Schools does a top 50 employees. And I'm very proud to say that Mt.Washington School has one of those 50 top employees. So out of the 66 schools, 6,000 employees, Mr. Travis, one of our paraprofessionals, was named a CPS Employee of the Year. So if you happen to know Mr. Travis, please pass along your congratulations, because that's kind of a big deal. Every year I come to you this time of year and I say, there's a small group of us that meet once a month at the school. It is called the Local School Decision Making Committee. A big mouthful. The work of this committee is to bring together community, parents, staff, and teachers. It is equal parts. And every year I say, if anybody's interested, will you please reach out to me? I have one community opening, so if you're interested, please reach out to me. Lastly, next week is the last week of school, you guys. School lets out officially next Thursday, so you will see a bunch of kids after that point. Just be on the lookout. Mt.Washington School is hosting summer school this year, so our building will still be very active. We will be hosting third graders who qualify for summer school from 4 or 5 different buildings. They rotate it. CPS just kind of moves it around each year. So this is our turn to host. So we will still have a very active campus. Any questions for me? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next, we're going to hear from the Rec Center.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Michelle Miller. Everybody calls me Shell. I'm the new service area coordinator for the Mt.Washington Recreation Center. I started my career in CRC in 1995 at the old building here. And then I was put in here in 2010 to 2019 as one of the community center directors. And then I left in 19 for a promotion, and then the service area coordinator position became open here, so I threw my hat in the ring. But I'm a lifetime Mt.Washington resident. I grew up in Mt.Washington. I went to Guardian Angels. I went to McNick. So I'm toward the end of my career, so I wanted my swan song to be Mt.Washington because my heart is here, and I did all the community stuff here when I was a kid and swam in the pool, and then worked here as well. So I'm very familiar with Mt.Washington. I'm getting used to how things have been since I've been gone for 7 years, but I look forward to meeting all of you. And if you have any questions, my door is always open. We are full for summer day camp. We have gone so far as to open up our wait list, so we'll have approximately 80 kids this summer. We did not have enough to fill a preschool camp, so we decided to open up the wait list for summer day camp to fill those spots. And the kids have a big, giant agenda of things to do all summer long. Any questions for me? I'm sure you guys are all familiar with, we have calendars out there with our gym schedule. That'll be changing for the summer. Our building will be changing, the hours will change for the summer as well. We'll be closing at 8 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock during, from June, July, and August. Then September, we jump back into staying open until 9 o'clock again. But yeah, we do have shorter hours during the summer. Any questions? Yes?
Why are the hours shorter during the summer instead of longer?
Believe it or not, we've done our statistics. We have something, our software system tracks everybody comes in, and statistically it shows that we really don't have anybody come in for those later hours. What we want to really serve during those later hours, I mean, yes, we have a fitness room, but actually I ran the statistics to run them to my supervisor, and last summer from June 1st to August 30th, the whole time, people coming in from the hours between 8 and 9 was 14 people altogether for the whole summer. So that's a budget cut. There's no reason to keep all the staff here for that reason. Most kids go home. And most of the, I mean, we really don't have the staff on top of it. Most centers don't have the staff because we bulk staff from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. So that's where all of our bang for our buck goes. So statistically, it's not worth it for us to keep it open for that 1 hour for 14 people for the whole summer. So you're welcome. Anything else? Anybody questions, concerns? Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, so with those adjusted hours, our meetings are going to be at 6 during those months instead of 7. And then July, we do not have a general meeting, which has been the same as previous years. Next up will be the Mt.Washington CURC.
Well, we just got done with spaghetti dinner. Our next one's September 26th. So we basically take the summer off of all the spaghetti dinners. And thanks for the beginning of the year, we were at American Legion 484, we thank them. And then gracious enough, Mark Rab, him and Reverend Janine were kind enough to give us their location. So now we're down at the Mt.Washington Methodist Church on Corbley. So it's been a very nice, it gendered over real good for us. So that's where spaghetti dinners are. If everybody would look on the table, I know there's 5 copies of the whole plan for the for the parade. So please look at it. One explains it. The first page explains it. The second page is the actual application, and you have to have an application in by June 30th to be in the parade. We're not taking walk-ups. Where did you get this? You're looking at the old one. He's got an old one. Where did you get that thing? I knew that's online. Okay. And so the second page that you folks have, that's all the volunteers. We've got to have people at these locations. We have a whole new route. We're starting at basically Mt.Washington School. It's going up Mears to Beachmont, down Beachmont to Corbley, and then to Oxford, and it'll end at Stanberry, where there will be activities there put on by the park. And so we're all working together on that right now. But we definitely need people at all these street locations. But we cut out Bennyville, we cut out Sutton, Rockdale, Rockland, and Lehigh. We dropped all those off. So we're just making a straight shot. We're going to be lining up, and it may even end up in Thornburg back there if we have enough cars, which we hope we do. So if you have any questions, my number's on there. Otherwise, you can send the form back to my email, and we'll schedule you at these locations. But we definitely need more help than we've ever had before because of how we ran it. And so we need help with there. The application, it would be wonderful if neighborhoods would decide to put small floats and mostly cars and things. We're very fortunate the Seaver family. John comes in with about 20 cars, and they're all very neat cars that you don't get that close to with the vets and things. And they bring some unusual cars besides. And then afterwards, if the weather's good, part of the plan is around the circle at the Stanberry, let the cars and tractors pull in there that people can go up and see the cars that way. But I don't want to take any of the flame off of Mark's display. So then on the back, it's the new route. And it's a straight shot. It'll be a lot easier to less traffic, where when it was down at the Legion, it bottlenecked pretty hard. So that's why we made the switch. Plus with it being 250th, we want to make sure that we do something special. And can I say a flag post, or do you want to? Well, there's a brand new flagpole going up in Stanberry. It will be at where the statue is. It was delivered yesterday. It's in Roth Reynolds Insurance. And thank God people showed up, and 6 people carried it in. It's 30 feet. And it will be being installed by the park board. Their generosity is they're actually sending their crew to put it up. And during the 3rd of July, after the parade, there will be a ceremony for dedication of that flag. And 484 is going to do a 21 gun salute.
Yes.
And so I'm going to let Mark tell everything that he knows so far, but we are still working on some other neat things with the parade. But we can use as much help as anybody's willing to give. Mark.
Am I up next?
You're up next.
Good evening, everyone. Most of you probably have this on your table. If you didn't get one of these flyers, there's extras at the front table here. This is a current event listing of everything that's happening at Stanberry Park this year. Front and back, there's a lot going on. When I took this organization over a few years ago, I recognized there was a need in the community and a desire to do more things at what is kind of our front yard for the neighborhood. And the first thing that I created was what we call the summer kickoff, which is a big family-friendly event that we do right when school lets out, with a Mad Cat puppet show, live animals, children's musician. That is scheduled for this Saturday. Watching the weather hourly at this point to see if it's going to go off or not. If we cancel it, it'll be on all of our socials, and if it's raining, you know that we're not going to do it. So that's probably the easy way to figure it out. So that's the first big event to go on. And then, as you can also see, there's little beer mugs that are on these as well. Some of the events will have alcohol available. That's signified with the little beer mug. We're going to have some conservation events. There's going to be some family-guided naturalists from Cincinnati Parks that come to Stanberry Park this year to lead some guided walks. Our normal music and movie nights as well. So take a look at this. There's a QR code on the back if you want to go on our website and read further about it. And I don't have much to add more, Bob, about the July 3rd event. We're still working through that. That's the newest thing that we did as far as a new event this year. We just try to add something new every year instead of trying to add a whole lot of new events at one time and overwhelm everybody. It's more like drip, drip. That's add an event, make it good, add another event. This year's the big July 3rd event. We'll do the flagpole ceremony. We'll have some live bluegrass music, food, drinks, and all that. So with the parade ending at the park, it's just kind of a natural thing. We do a big celebration for America's 250. So hopefully I see a few of you all at the park this year. Does anyone have any questions on what we're doing or suggestions? Nikki?
Can you send this to me electronically and I'll put it in my last parent newsletter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
These come out, some of these events are amazing, they'll get staff and cars, and things after the caliber events.
Yeah.
Sort of, they come out, hopefully.
We're enhancing events, and what's not noted on this, because the pages are limited, is we're going to have some other vendors at the park. We're going to have something called a cam cruiser at a few of our events. It's the Cincinnati Art Museum. They bring out a van. They do some arts and crafts for the kids. We're also going to have some other vendors. We're going to have an icy truck that's going to be at most of our events selling shaved ice treats and stuff like that. So come on out, hang out. We'd love to have you. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Mark. Then our next one is going to be the CDC.
Hello, everybody. My name is Emily Linish. It's nice to meet you. I've been sitting on the board for the Mt.Washington CDC for just about over a year now. We were constantly growing and changing, and we actually had the capacity to hire a staff member, so I stepped down from the board, and I am now the brand new staff member. I've been here for about 2 weeks officially on staff, and I'm part-time in Mt.Washington and also part-time at Madisonville CURC, so I'm really excited to get going in the community and hopefully, have somebody in the office and continue all the good work that we're doing. Another brief update is that I'd like to recognize that Sebastian's Coffee House just opened today to the public, which is very exciting, in the old Ice and Beer building. So we're excited to see you all come out. And that's all. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry? Oh, yeah, of course, I can give you that. On the Mount Washington CDC website, it's mtwcdc.net. The info email is located at the bottom of the page, and that gets forwarded straight to me. And then I can give you my phone number. For sure, thank you.
All right, thank you. And yeah, I do have to say I went to Sebastian's this morning, and their food was very good. Looks like the next will be the American Legion.
Hi again. June 14th is Flag Day. The American Legion will have a ceremony to retire flags. The flags are actually burned in a ceremony to respect our flags. Through the year, if you have American flags that you need to dispose of, inside the lobby of the American Legion, right inside the front door, is a container where you can drop those flags off. Instead of throwing them away, they will be disposed of properly. So starting at 1 o'clock, June 14th, there'll be food and beverages, and come out and support the day.
Is the post going to be having on the 25th this month, the morning ceremony for Memorial Day ceremony?
Say again, I didn't hear you.
Are you going to be having a Memorial Day ceremony at the little small park that's down there?
For Memorial Day, yeah, I believe that is. And then at that point, they split into groups and put flags in cemeteries.
Is it going to be like 10 o'clock in the morning?
I believe that's right. I can double check and I'll give you my contact information and I can double check and get that back to you. Don't have that one off the top of my head. Right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, absolutely.
Dunkin' Donuts finally looks like they're going to have their permits within 2 weeks, and then they will start. It will take them 4 months to build it, but I talked to them yesterday. So that's the latest and greatest, but all he's been waiting on is permits from the city of Cincinnati.
Awesome, thank you for the update. All right, we're going to move on to general business. Now, our first piece of general business is confirming our new director. So as a lot of you are probably aware, this year there has been a lot of turnover on the board. First, we were having trouble filling our secretary position. Chase was gracious enough to step up for that and act as secretary even without being a director or having any voting rights. So then when last month Julie stepped down, she left some big shoes to fill. Chase was appointed as that new director. How director appointments work when someone resigns is it's appointed by the board, and they fulfill that term rather than starting a new term. So he will be fulfilling Julie's previous term rather than starting a new term. And with that being said, Chase, do you want to say anything?
Sure.
I know you introduced yourself mainly last month, but.
Yes, I did introduce myself a month ago, but I'll just say exactly what I said then to repeat myself. I'm Chase Wellman. I've grown up in the area my whole life. Most of my life I lived just on the other side of Salem Road, so technically Anderson, but I count that more as Mount.Washington than Anderson. Been a true resident of Mount.Washington for about a year and a half. Love the community. It's great. That's why I wanted to be a part of the board. Right now I'm an attorney. I work for the Hamilton County Court of Common Pleas. I work for a judge, and it's a pretty dry yet exciting job. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, thank you, Chase. Now we do need a vote to confirm. Is anyone able to make a motion? Awesome, Teddy motions and Nikki seconds.
Yep.
All right, all in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect. Oh, abstention, sounds good. All right, awesome. Next, we'll be moving on to the Mount.Washington Community Council Engagement Subcommittee. So this is one that I'm really excited about. As I said, one of the things I want is opportunity for more people to get involved. I know I've heard that from certain people, but Margot is going to be chairing this, so I'm going to hand it over to her.
Okay, so we want to reach out to community members who could perhaps be interested in doing subcommittees. So things like organizing community events, creating social media pages like Instagram pages, refreshing things like maybe our website, creating community newsletters to send out to folks, maybe helping out with like pumpkin chuck things like beer tasting. Should I move away from that microphone? Closer to my mouth. Maybe like beer tasting for pumpkin chuck to determine what beers we'll have, things like that. So fun things, engaging things with the community, but basically things that would get other neighbors involved with community council, engaged with community events, but then like stream up through the board. So if you're interested in being involved, we haven't worked out anything yet, but involved in anything, creating social media pages, creating community events, helping with pumpkin chuck, anything you can think of. There's no limit. Reach out to us via email and let's get something started. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margot. The next one is the community budget request proposal. Sorry. Yeah, here.
I just want to make a suggestion for like getting folks more involved. Living in other cities, experience having street captains within smaller neighborhoods. So find an active participant that's like within not a develop, like a, what are they called? Thank you, subdivision and like the cul-de-sacs and things where like you identify one person that's in charge of like getting the other people in that area involved or spreading the word. And that's like really helpful.
We saw community members that already have that going. So like folks like that. So yeah, definitely reach out via email. We want to do more stuff like that.
Any other questions? All right. So the next one is the community budget request. So these are our opportunity to tell the city where we want them to spend their budget in our neighborhood. These come up once every 2 years. In the past, 6 to 8 years, we have not been successful with this. I think the last one we got approved was either in 2018 or 2020. So we're trying to get ahead of the curve this year. And we're going to try and start it early. And so we're going to be reaching out to different community groups. If anybody in the community in general wants to come up with any suggestions, please email them to us at info@mwcc.org. And we will absolutely consider them, possibly meet with people. But yeah, we're going to be kicking this off, and we are very hopeful that this will be the year that we do get some funding.
I got you. Okay. Spring into action.
Another suggestion here, after having worked with several communities and helping them get items out of their CBR, with the neighborhood plan going on right now, those are great things that are already, whatever ends up looking like, those items are great things to get that money spent through, because we've all, worked on that plan and agreed upon it, and the administration sees that, okay, these are approved items, we're not gonna get any pushback. We know that the community has already approved this, so yes, this is like a easy check off, but the CBR process is definitely a way to get those items identified within the neighborhood plan, approved, and that money into this community.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, that was one of the things we have looked at. We've started looking at the 2007 plan, as well as there was a Yard and Company plan and a ULI plan that we've all been looking at, as well as we're going to be looking at the current one that is under development. But yeah, that's exactly what we're hoping to do. Another, oh,
Could I just say,
yeah.
I don't even recall, I know we tried, I just wanted to, what is it like specifically, or an example of a couple of others, what are the parameters of that? Are we trying to get like what's a funded request that's come through before? I don't remember one coming through, I remember us applying like what, or is it like a one-time expense? I don't recall.
Yeah, so they're usually one-time capital, move right from the speaker. They're usually single project capital expenses So it wouldn't be anything like maintenance or ongoing things. Like I know around the universities, that community was able to get this big staircase that's like an entry to part of their neighborhood redone because it was falling apart and unsafe. I think we got like, if I'm not mistaken, the welcome sign at the beginning of the business district was one that we had gotten in the past. Usually they tend to be infrastructure related and are kind of like what Rosa was saying, in coordination with plans that the neighborhood has done so that they know that it is actually in coordination with the neighborhood. And then another really important part is that they fit into something that the city already has budgeted. So that's one of the things where we'll be working with the city and different city departments, is so we can go show what we have in mind, and they can kind of tell us, there is a budget for that. No, there's not a budget for that. Maybe if you were to make this change, you would be able to get into that budget. So those are kind of some of the different things we'll be working around. Absolutely. Any other questions? All right, then we'll move on to a merch announcement. This one is also going to be another one from Margot.
Okay, so I would like to create Mount Washington merch. Well, not create, I would just like to use our Mount Washington logo that we already have in existence and create merch. Cool's Hot Sports Spot. I've gotten some general quotes, and I believe with approximately $1,300, I can get a variety of 100 shirts, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, multiple sizes, multiple colors. So I guess what I'm asking for is $1,300 for merch to be sold for a small profit for the community.
Are you making a motion?
I'm making a motion to make for $1,300.
Wait, before we, discussion.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Should the motion be to have up to $1,300 or up to
Mm.
$1,500 in case the quote changes a little bit, so you have some wiggle room and not have to come back to the computer?
I'm going to use $1,300 for sure.
Okay.
There'll be no less.
All right.
No problem.
Sounds good. And then I think we need a vote, or sorry, yes, Rick? All right. And then all who approve?
Thank you.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect.
Thanks.
Our next one is Art Daniels here. Awesome.
Sorry.
Hi. There is a traffic safety issue that I've been actually talking to the board members via email over since 2024, and this is the intersection of Wayside and Salem. That particular intersection, if you are on Wayside at the stop sign and you're trying to make a left-hand turn, you're taking your life in your hands. There are two blind curves and hills. If you're proceeding from actually Kellogg, proceeding what did you call it, northeast towards Wayside Avenue, the city can do something about that, much like they've done in what I call the downtown Mount Washington, or the uptown Mount Washington, where the speed bumps are, and that were put in last year, and then the speed bumps further down on Beachmont that slow people down near some of the crosswalks and the light and so forth. So what I am proposing is, and this is something that I did in 2024, and I did a lot of research because I had to contact the city, I had to contact the county, and the problem with the Wayside and Salem intersection is that that's controlled by two different things. In other words, the city has the authority up into the Anderson Township limit, which is just a few number of feet before the intersection. On the other side is Township or Hamilton County. Hamilton County has made a decision, and I tried to talk to them about that there's not been any deaths or enough serious accidents over the last few years that they will even consider it. which is really sad because I guess their bar has to be pretty high. Got to have a lot of maimings or something in order for that deaths or maimings to do anything. And on the city's side, if there could be a speed bump, which would be the easiest thing to do, a speed bump just prior to the Anderson Township line, coming up the hill, it would slow down people so that when you're trying to make a left turn from Wayside onto Salem, you have to look, and it's a blind curve. You'd have to actually be in the middle of the intersection to actually see a vehicle coming either way, but you're just kind of guessing, and you're looking right, you're looking left, you're looking right, you're looking left. There is a mirror, which sometimes you can see, but it's really very scary. So if there was a speed bump on the location that I'm talking about, just one speed bump coming up the hill, people would slow down enough so they could see that someone's turning a left turn out of out of Wayside onto Salem. You still have to contend with coming down the hill at usually a pretty fast speed, but then you only have to focus mostly on the one direction. And anyway, I've tried to get this in 24, and I thought something was going to happen with it, and I tried again in 25, but I think the decision by the council, or the push from the council, had already been to get the speed bumps right here in kind of the uptown area, which I compliment. That's great. That's a great safety situation. But this is a dire need, so we don't have a death, or we don't have some serious maimings from people trying to turn left from Wayside Avenue onto Salem. So anyway, I would ask the board to strongly consider this. Questions?
Is there any benefit to turning it to a three-way stop?
The trouble is, then you've got to deal with Hamilton County. It would be much better if a stop sign could be put, rather than a speed bump, a stop sign could be put for the coming up the hill just prior to the Anderson Township line. If a stop sign was there, then you'd have 2 stop signs, and that would be great. 3 stop signs would be even better, but that's a real political problem, because then you're dealing with county and city, and that's a battle. But the city can do this. They do have the authority to put the speed bump right where I'm discussing. So a very big plea to the board to do what you can to see if we can get that. Yes. Question.
I just wonder, were you asking us to make a motion to make this a priority somehow, like for a safety priority in the next, I think the city's on 2027 in the name? Is that what you're asking, like, would we make that a safety priority for the city? We have that to go to DOTE, I think, right?
I do not know that.
Actually, I remember you got a petition, you've been working on.
I got a petition. I spent a lot of time on it. Yeah.
For a very long time.
Yeah.
I think we might, as a community council, probably have to make a motion, second it, and figure out who does this go to say this is a very concerning priority. I think we have to send it to somebody, right? So I'm deferring to you guys. Who do we go to? Would it be a DOTE that you talk to with the city or on the city side of that?
I spoke with whoever was on the city side of traffic, and he said what you have to work through is the Mt.Washington Community Council.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they're asking us to do, or a letter to do a traffic study to determine what the next safety step is. That's what they want from us, right?
Not to my knowledge. If there was a request for a speed bump, whatever you had to do as a board to get the speed bumps in uptown Mount Washington here and on Beachmont going down the hill towards the light, towards Lunkin that way, whatever had to be done there, I'm assuming would have to be done to get the speed bump. The only difference here is this wouldn't have to be in both directions. It would only have to be in the direction coming up the hill. Yes.
My recent experience with speed bumps, there are speed bumps on Beachmont, right by the crosswalk where we have our new flags, and they make absolutely no difference. In my opinion, if we're going to request something, let's request a 3-way stop, or how about a street light?
That would be even better, but again, then you gotta have both Hamilton County and the city agree.
I understand all the red tape that's involved, but in my opinion, speed bumps will not solve the issue.
You know what, though, I'm just looking back here, I'm looking through our trail of correspondence with Mr. Davis. We have, so the one in charge of this right now, the way we have to do this as an organization is write an email to Mel McVeigh, she's the program manager for traffic calming. I'm just looking back, and we have to say, we are concerned, we know, we say which intersection we're concerned about, we can't dictate what kind of measure should be used. That's DOT. So the best we can do is send it to Mel McVeigh with the Traffic and Engineering Division and say, we want, this is a dangerous intersection, we need this analyzed for traffic calming measures. We can't specify, we never believed it before, speed bumps or whatever, but we could, as an organization right now, make a motion tonight. You could, Mr. Davis, make a motion to say that you would like that intersection, is that a letter written to Mel McVeigh, in charge of state traffic calming, and they will request that that intersection be investigated for calming measures. You could take that motion and you could second it and send a letter to that effect.
Okay.
Send an email to that effect.
One more question? Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I've lived in Mt.Washington about a year and a half, and we've had lots of accidents at Washington and Beachmont. We've had 2 in the last 30 days. And one I know had a child in the car. And so several of us have signed a letter. We want something calming there also. We're really concerned with trying to get in. I mean, it's our main way of getting in and out, and we can't get out certain times of the day. You know, I've waited 15 minutes and gave up turning left there and walk up right and go around, and then I have to stay away from the down. So I don't want to take away from your work by any means, but I think this is another really bad, and several of us that live in the subdivision signed our letter. And yeah, we did specify we need a light, we want a lane that you can turn, use, and that's any way you want, but it's really dangerous.
Oh, I'd like to make a motion.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Back when I was in the community council about 15 years ago as a member, same complaints came in when they were redoing Beachmont Avenue. You have to deal with the state of Ohio as well. Because that's State Route 125, Beachmont Avenue.
No, Wayside is, Salem and Wayside are not Beachmont.
No, but on hers with Beachmont and Washington, that is dealing with the state on a lot of that stuff. Because they tried to put a traffic light in there by St. Vincent de Paul, but the city forgot about it, and the state said no. So you've got to deal with the state, city, and county to try to get anything done at Beachmont and Washington. Because that was highly contested even back then. And we had 2 board of directors who lived on Washington, who moved after that because the state wouldn't do anything. So you've got a lot of work ahead of you to do it. The city can't do it.
Can we separate these at this point? Yeah, obviously both are big problems, but I would like to make a motion that the board would draft the letter to, and I don't know the person's name that you mentioned.
Just to Mel McVeigh.
To Mel McVeigh for traffic calming for that particular intersection of Wayside and Salem. Analysis, yes. I would like to make that motion.
I'll second that, yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. All right, then that passes. We will write that letter.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Now, I hear there are multiple different concerns around traffic. One thing I do really want to recommend, as I think one of our best avenues for getting traffic calming is going to be through that neighborhood plan that's currently being formed. So I would recommend, I think you guys are both already reached out, but if neither of you guys or either one of you have not reached out to Frank Busofsky and Sophia Ferris-Rowe to get on that mobility and connectivity focus group for the neighborhood plan, I would highly recommend that. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because that'll probably be the best way of achieving it, but we definitely will write that letter.
I'm sorry, the young lady there, if she's been informed about reaching out to Frank.
Yeah, or have you been connected with that focus group?
Yeah, that's the mobility.
Yeah, mobility and connectivity through the neighborhood plan. Okay, perfect. Awesome.
You do 311 Cincy, you don't need to give it that.
Okay.
311 Cincy has a traffic calming request within their app or within their website. And if enough of us request Old Mosquito and the Wayside Salem, like they'll respond. I've gotten responses to that within hours. And if there's enough like collective response to that and request, they'll address it. And that's how we got the ones in Portland in front of Stan within weeks. Like it's possible, and I think everybody here should go on to the 311 Cincy and request that within the next couple of days, and maybe we'll get a capacity that will happen.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions on traffic calming? All right. So next, we're going to move on to the landscaping regarding the business district as well as the median coming up. So I'm going to pass it to Gary.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks, Nick. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight and showing support for your community. My name's Gary Nolan. I'm on the board. Tonight, the issue is maintaining the landscaping throughout the business district and in the parking behind that. Parking's okay, all right. So throughout the business district, starting around Mears and going down to Crestview, both sides of the street need work, starting now and going all the way through the fall. I'm talking about weed control, trimming trees, leaf removal in the fall, and we want this to start and get prepared for the 4th of July so the community looks good, and then after that we have the pumpkin chuck, we want to look good. As with everything, it takes money. So I'm here tonight to ask your approval that we allocate funds from the council funds to pay for this. And I want to make a motion to that effect that we take money to pay for maintaining the area. But before we do that, does any have any questions?
Well, who gets the money? Who gets paid?
The contractor, whoever bids, and we accept their bid for the work. So if you have somebody in mind that would want to do it, we're open for that. But we have to get going on it because, yeah, time's a wasting.
Do we have an estimate, Gary, or something, or not yet? Do we have someone who's proposed an estimate? I mean, Mark, do you have any interest in that again, or no?
I might bid on it.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, Mark did an incredible job latter half of last year. Maybe that's something, he maintained that whole business district. I did go down and look at the tree median there. I mean, is that something we could just do a work day and put cones? And most of it is just, it's almost all rocks. Couldn't we just weed that? Or no? Or what?
We are working on a plan for the median,
Oh,
but we don't have anything to show for it yet.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, what I'm talking about, excuse me, what I'm talking about, it does not include the median
Okay.
at the bottom of the hill.
Business district.
Just business district,
Median,
yeah,
Mark did a great job. I don't
yeah.
know.
I'm not going out to those meetings, but.
No.
Not the median, no, just in the business district, correct.
Leanne?
Just a question, and correct me if I'm wrong, like as a private property owner, I'm responsible for the sidewalk in front of my house, and I'm responsible to the road. Is that not the case in the business
Not the
district?
case. These business owners will not maintain.
But
We've
they
got-
should.
They won't. I'm
Okay.
telling you right. I know them all. They will not.
Did everybody hear
We've
that?
done this for at least 15 years, and we've always gotten funds from here, but it didn't work out this year. But we've always gotten $3,000 out of funds that are coming from here. They're being used elsewhere, which is fine. But MWCRC and the business owners, they pay for the cuts, they maintain the best they can. You know, it's just tough. MWCRC gets $3,600. Our pots run $6,900. So anybody who has a pot is paying money to keep that pot in front of their place, which if we didn't have the pots, the town would really look bad. But when we did it in the past years, we hired landscapers, and fortunately Mark stepped up to the plate, and Mark's job was done a lot better because he had his love and care in it, where landscapers, they do what they want, and you never get your dollar out of it. I mean, I'm all for doing the Mark whatever he figures he needs, but I don't want to say, I know what he paid last year, and he was underpaid, but whatever he's willing to do, I think it's well worth it. And, but as I say, we're not going to get cooperation.
Okay, having said that, roughly the price is going to be between $3,000 and $4,000. But it's going to start for 6 months to take care of the whole district or the whole business district. So I'd like to make a motion that we allocate money from our funds to do this. We need your approval to do this. So,
Can I say something though? This has been a problem every year when we get a landscaper, we say we're gonna give 3,000, hey, we're into July and they've spent the whole budget. Is the board gonna oversee the pacing of this? I mean, I trust Mark or anything, but I mean, I feel like that has to be, we can't end up again in July and the whole budget's spent, we've spent $3,000 and it's gone. Like, will the board allocate that, the pacing of that?
Well, Julie, the difference is, when we hire landscapers, you're paying retail. If we can get Mark on the board, but in return, if he has a budget of $500 to $700 every month he can get, he would have a schedule, and it would be done
But Bob,
properly.
you paid him more than that. That's been an ongoing problem, is he'd have a budget of 500, then he'd hand you 1,200, and we'd end up paying.
I just said what the budget would be whatever you decide, and you would decide, and work with this person to have a schedule.
Okay.
That's how it's gotta be.
Yeah.
That's why you can't hire a regular landscaper. I mean, I hired a very good landscaper. The problem is, they come out and they do what they wish. It was terrible. And I was very fortunate that Mark stepped up to the table. That's why I don't want to hire a big company.
I'd be glad to second your motion if we could put in there that the board will provide oversight for the cadence of the cleanup, so that if we say, yes, we're gonna give you $3,000, that you guys.
not all up front.
No,
paid
right. But
by
I'm
the
just
money.
saying that you guys, as a board, provide oversight to see that what you want to get done gets done. That Mark would be amazing, but he's been put on the spot here being asked like this. I don't know if he's even interested, but if you see that they accomplish, that they have to, they can't just say, we'll do this for 400 if it's a landscape company, then they bring a bill for 1,200. That just can't work.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
I think first, and I wish John were here, our treasurer report, we've got $17,200 in the bank. I really think we need to figure out what can we afford? What is the minimum amount that we should have in that bank account? Say that the pumpkin chuck gets rained out this year and we don't make any money. If there's no money coming in for a year, what's the minimum balance that we need to stay alive? Then figure out what we have left to pay for landscaping.
Just my
Well, that's the problem that MWCRC, when we gave up doing a holiday walk, we went away. This parade, I'm praying to God I get enough money to put it on, but otherwise MWCRC will suffer.
I think personally, one thing I would like to see is bids for quotes and a project leader on this. So personally, I would like, before we approve anything, to have a time to collect bids as well as to assign a project manager, but that's my own personal opinion.
The city of Cincinnati Park Board has agreed to clean out the welcome sign. And the park board has agreed to bring me as many flowers and things that I need. So I don't do flowers. I've been picking on coordinator. Right. He was very good at putting in the other flowers. So hopefully whenever the park has time to clear it out, we find out what week, and we have, when they come up and do the flower pots, they would bring flowers and everything for it, and no cost to us. It's just strictly volunteers. Here's another volunteer base we need.
Okay, so where we left off, more questions, okay.
No, I just want to make a motion. So I was thinking, what we're talking about here, incremental payments. So if we say $3,000, and I think the company check looks like $6,000. What was budgeted for? So with 17 down, we get it down to 14,000. $3,000 to do 5 months, that takes us through October. $600 a month, if you think that's enough.
It's 6 months through November.
Through November.
Mhm.
So it's not a lot of landscaping in November, but not much else.
Just leaf removal,
Yeah, okay, so six to 500, whether it be.
500 a month,
And just say, I think that's something.
pay it in increments.
Yeah, I'd like to make that motion.
I agree with that. So, having all that discussion, anybody feel that this is, I'd like to make a motion that we do this. So, would anybody want to second this?
What that motion is exactly?
That we allocate funds from the community to maintain the business district.
Is there a dollar amount for the funds?
$3,000.
Okay.
$3,000.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor of this motion? Looks like it's the majority, okay.
And we need to. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, perfect. So it passes. And then last but not least, we do have the Belmar letter. So what this was with our old board, we had, overall, this past month, we received a complaint about how communications regarding the Belmar development had taken place, and there was some confusion about if the board had taken an explicit position on it or not. The people involved in that are no longer on the board, and so there is no action that we were going to take, but we did have a letter that we wanted to write to clarify the situation. I do see a question, so I'll start with that.
I'm sorry, I'm ignorant of what the Belmar letter, what is the Belmar?
So the Belmar is a senior affordable housing project that is being constructed on, I believe it's Beachmont in Ranchville. And there have been some concerns with it regarding that hillsides and the neighborhood that it abuts to. And so there has been a large group that has come and has had some a lot of concerns about it.
Where is this located?
Beachmont in Ranchville.
It's like before you get to the bottom of the hill.
Where the woods is, where the woods is. And there's a tent there now.
Okay.
They're already looking.
The abandoned gas station already moved.
No, it's above that.
Before you get to the first set of speed bumps at the bottom of the hill. Wide left.
Probably about halfway up the hill, more or less.
Okay, I got it.
Traffic light.
All right, so I'm going to read our letter and then I'll take any questions afterwards. So, on February 19th, 2025, Mount Washington residents and members of the Community Council expressed concerns regarding the development of low-income senior housing located at 5455 Beachmont Avenue, the Belmar Hill Project. Upon a request by the concerned residents, the Mount Washington Community Council, MWCC, endorsed and submitted a letter addressed to the city council members, the city manager, the mayor, the Department of City Planning and Engagement, the Department of Building and Inspections, the Division of Traffic Engineering, the Neighborhood Development Division Manager, the Metropolitan Sewer District, and the Hillside Trust. The letter conveyed the concerns of residents whose properties abut to the Belmar project, particularly regarding the potential for surrounding development to contribute to hillside instability. The MWCC sent the letter to the above address on February 27th, 2025. On March 31st, 2026, the Mount Washington Community Council Board of Directors received correspondence from attorney James Houston purporting to represent the residents of Mount Washington in connection with the Belmar Hill project. Mr. Houston's correspondence addressed the City Planning Commission, requests the commission delay any discussion or approval of the purchase of any right-of-ways in connection to the Belmar Hill project, and that the Planning Commission provide detailed updates on the Belmar Hill project in a public forum before any decisions or approvals are made. The MWCC Board remains highly sensitive to the concerns of residents of Mount Washington, especially when those concerns regard matters of safety, property, and property stability. The residents owning the property abutting the Belmar Hill project utilized the proper process by presenting their concerns to the Mount Washington Community Council and requesting the council send a letter to the city officials on their behalf. The subsequent involvement of legal counsel suggests that the MWCC's letter did not elicit the response that the concerned residents hoped to receive. The Mount Washington Community Council Board was never apprised that residents obtained private legal counsel. Likewise, the board does not endorse Mr. Houston's correspondence to the commission. The letter from the Mount Washington Community Council officials remains the only correspondence officially endorsed by Mount Washington Community Council. Because legal counsel has become involved with the issues regarding the Belmar Hill project, the Mount Washington Community Council Board does not take a position either in support or against of the project. Accordingly, all matters pertaining to the Belmar Hill project are best handled through the aid of privately retained legal counsel. So the purpose of this letter was not to endorse either side within this dispute. It has been more to recap what has happened on both sides, as well as to clarify, as the complaint had thought that the attorney's letter was on behalf of the Community Council Board, and so as to clarify that. Any questions?
The intent was never for the lawyer letter to be part of the community council. They sent it to the community council so you would have record of it.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it. I didn't think that it was supposed to be. However, other people who had received the letter did not understand that intent, and so this was more to clarify that. Yeah?
I think it's, speaking, I'm sure the neighbors are frustrated. I feel, sympathy for the neighbors in this situation. One of the biggest problems has just been no communication from the city ever on anything, that letter went to them because I was secretary then, what, February or March of 2025, and still the only agency that responded was the Hillside Trust. There has been no interaction ever with the city on this project. I mean, the letter captures things very well, but I think that's a frustrating, that's not neither here for the community council, but it's very frustrating for the neighbors who would like to have some voice, or know something, but have received no contact at all.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that, and I once again want to clarify, this letter is not meant to minimize any of the hillside, the concerns around that. It was specifically just to make clear, because people had assumed that this letter was also on behalf of the community council.
Will a copy of that letter be on your website?
It wasn't going to be on the website, but it can be delivered to anybody upon request. So if you'd like a copy of it, reach out to info@mwcc.org. We can provide it to you. Yeah?
Maybe just include it in the minutes.
Okay, yeah, we can include it in the minutes. That's a good idea. I like that. Any other questions, comments, concerns, suggestions? All right, awesome. So with that, we are going to adjourn. Now, one thing I will say in the future, and this was largely me, dropping the ball on getting the agenda out as early as I would like to. I'm hoping in the future that agendas will come out the Sunday before meetings, and I do hear the feedback that it does need to be a little bit more specific and detailed, so I will try to adjust that as well. All right, and with that, if there's nothing else, then we'll adjourn. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like you've done it 1,000 times. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. How do I turn this off?